everyone. Hello all. It's very late at night, almost midnight. But I just decided maybe before I go to bed, let me just record this one for my friend Kambakwe. I listened to your analysis on the judgment. I also listened to Dr. Mteneri, my other friend, but he didn't say anything really. And I think because he's a decent man, he appreciated that legal literature is not his strength, and he did say he's disappointed with the judgment, but I think he just left it there. But as for you, my friend, come back where you're outlandish, and I thought maybe from one friend to the other is to say, we know that you are a very talented young man of many talents, but I don't think that legal literature is one of your talents. And in recognition or in view of that, I think you would have been a bit circumspect in the manner in which you wanted to analyze the judgment. But again, I think it was a huge disservice to your viewers and to the country at large. You attacked one of the best written judgments, and I don't know that justice. I'm sure he has dealt with other cases that may probably be criticized for, but not this one. There was nothing political about that judgment. If you want to test what I'm saying, there in South Africa where you are, go to any institution with the law school, look for lecturers who have zero interest in Zimbabwe, got no interest whatsoever in Zimbabwe. Give them that judgment and ask them to give you a review of the judgment, because you see, the judgment gives you a summary of what both parties brought before the court, and then the judgment tells you the decision and how they came to that decision. You will recall that after the court hearing, I was able to give you a recording with a short summary of what happened, and I told you where that case was defective and where it's going to fail. And it came out exactly as I told you. How did I know that? Also, if you consider that I didn't listen to the court proceedings, I didn't. All I did was I asked for papers. I was given papers by the plaintiffs and the respondents, and I went through those papers. And because of a legal principle called stare decisis, basically what it means is it orders the courts to respect previous rulings. The other word for it is called precedent. So based on previous rulings on similar cases, I was able to know how the judgment is going to be. I could tell where was this case defective and how it's going to go. So you were extremely outlandish, and you did a complete disservice to the country, to your viewers at large, and it was uncalled for from a friend to another. And I think the mistake you did was you listened to Honorable Gift Ostolas when he was making commentary around this case. And with all due respect, he should have never commented, especially with regards to the legal matters on this one. They have a lot of legal minds there, and I don't understand why they insisted on him commenting on this. They've got His Worship, the former mayor of Harare, Jacob. He could have done that. He could have done a decent job. The former spokesperson as well, Honorable Molekeli Daniel, could have done a better job. You've got Advocate Mahere. I think she could have, the list is endless. So you've got Honorable Prince Tubeko, and I just didn't understand why, because you remember, I think it was at the occasion of the opening of the new parliament. So cameras were rolling there, and he was asked about the case, and he went to the shops about the right to be heard. So you basically accusing Parliament that Parliament violated fundamental right, the right to be heard. And they've been denied that right, so basically they're going to court to get that Audi, and okay, even then I knew that he's saying that because you didn't understand how the law works, that Parliament didn't have a judicial role as far as these matters were concerned. So there's no Audi which Parliament denied him. If there was anyone who would have denied him Audi, it would have been his party, because the recall, as far as the law in Zimbabwe is concerned, and it has been confirmed again by this judgment, was that it's his party that recalled him because it's the party that terminated his membership. So if there's anyone who owed him Audi, it was his party, not Parliament. At least that's law. That's state disease, which I told you about. So he completely misunderstood that. And that's what he told the journalists. And our journalists, because they are partisan like that, none of them has even tried to find out what the law said and actually say, no, say, Honorable, just a minute. How do you expect Parliament to give you Audi when Parliament does not play a judicial role, but it just plays a facilitating role? So no one cared to ask that. So days went by, and then we saw the papers, we saw the insults, we saw the inflammatory language, which is the one that made me report here, because I see your inflammatory language again, misguided, completely misguided towards the judge. But the inflammatory language then was directed towards the officers of Parliament, and they denigrated their interim SG, and the court took notice of that. They also took notice of it, and they quickly apologized, climbed down. But this is where the disservice was for me, especially from the media point of view. So we go there to court with a major claim, a violation of the Constitution, violation of the fundamental rights. We've been denied our Audi. We've been denied our right to be heard, which was a complete misapplication of the legal maxim and the understanding, And I just don't understand for the life of me why the learned friends didn't call him around and just gave him a small brief of how this principle applies and the terms and everything. So we just ignored that. Okay, that's okay. So we go to court. When we got to court, counsel for the plaintiffs apologizes. Having apologized, goes further and say, we're actually withdrawing any relief sought against Parliament and the officers of Parliament. Okay, so if you withdrawing any relief sought, which means you have no problems, you have no challenge whatsoever with Parliament. Granted? Yes, granted, right? So basically this Audi which you're talking about falls away. Okay? Right. Now, matters are argued in court. When we get out of court, the cameras are there again. How it went very well. Tshabangu could not answer this. Tshabangu could not answer this. We're very excited. We're winning this case. No, but the issue was Audi. Remember when he came here, the issue was the fundamental rights, our constitution, infringement of this and that and all those things. No journalist asked him to say, no, but how did we move from Audi to the issues about Tshabangu answering? And in any event, Tshabangu did not go to court and say to court, declare me as an interim SG. No, the declaratory was a prayer from them, which means that the burden of proof, the people with an honors to discharge that burden was them, not their interim SG. So the interim SG had nothing. He had nothing to prove. So they didn't come with anything. And I told you after that court, even before the judgment was out, that without the party joining there, without the champion-in-chief joining there, their case is dead on arrival. I was dead on arrival. And the judge spoke about that. So I heard you talk about the letters that were rejected. Those before a court of law, those were not letters. Those were hearsay evidence. And the champion-in-chief and the legal counsel and everyone, they know exactly what is admissible evidence in a court of law. A sworn statement, the champion-in-chief understands the value of a sworn statement before a competent court of law. And they elected not to do that. The party elected not to come and say, this man acted outside the mandate. In any event, we never gave him any mandate, which left one party member claiming that the other is not a party member and is not an official, right? And this party member claiming against that other one doesn't even bring the party constitution to prove that, doesn't bring a membership card, doesn't bring anything from this party. This party doesn't come on board. So what did you want the judge to do? Because you must appreciate one thing. Your case stands and falls on your papers, right? So I heard you saying the judge didn't ask this, the judge didn't. No, the judge is not there to ask questions. What happens is the judge adjudicates. You bring your case and the other one must defend, and then the judge must make a decision. There was no case brought. There was really no case brought because you are conflicting things. The case that was brought to court was a case about withdrawal from parliament. It was not a case about membership. It was not a case about being dismissed from the party. And so if they're interested, they will have to approach the processes that made them lose their membership, which is not where I am. But I just thought you were extremely outlandish and it was uncalled for. It's a disservice to the country. It's a disservice to our listeners. And our justices deserve better than what you did. And I can tell you this, don't get into the habit of being loose like that with judges. Because one day you may have to stand before them. And trust me, you will wish you could take back those words, and that's not going to be possible. Now, that's the part I wanted to deal with, right? I know you're interested on my political views, because another reason why I'm doing this is because many people come into my inbox and they want my views. That video which I did about the court proceedings, it was after people were coming into my inbox having listened to Honorable Gift Ostola Siziba. And I said to them, look, I can't be able to satisfy all of you in terms of responding one by one. I'm just going to do a recording, and I'll post it on Kambakwe, and then you'll get it from there. So I know that a lot of people now, they're asking me a lot of political questions. What do you think is going to happen and all those things. I saw a reporting somewhere that the champion-in-chief has written now to Parliament saying he's the one responsible for dealing with Parliament as far as MPs are concerned, and that he has since offered a constitution. I don't know whether it's an interim one or whatever, but I think the reporting spoke about something like that. It brings us to really fascinating times ahead of us. Fascinating times. This is my analysis. This is now analysis. I'm done with the legal thing I want to talk about. This is now my analysis, what I think is at play here. I think the Chen Champion-in-Chief looks at what is happening in terms of SADC, in terms of other international and maybe multinational bodies and other powerful nations. And then, because the judge said, by the way, your letter arrived a day after the calls were made, which made it really weak in that sense. There was nothing could be done. It had been overtaken by events. So I'm thinking what he's doing now is, I'm sending you a letter ahead of time. I'm sending you a constitution. And today at ZEC, I was with some of the recalled members, and I know that they registered. To me, they said they're registering as independents, but I later learned that they are registering as CCC. So I think the politics that is now at play is to say, since there were alleged double candidates in this just ended election, so these ones will come in again to constitute double candidates. And the calculus will probably is the Chen Champion-in-Chief will come and campaign for them, and they prevail. And then since the judgment said the officials of parliament or officers of parliament, all they are interested in is this letter from the party. It's an official letter from the party when it's recalled, and then they effect them. So I think what then they will do is, as soon as their interim SG puts the new candidates, especially the PR ones, and the senators to replace, and then a day after the Chen Champion-in-Chief will write a letter, recall these ones. And now that's going to be a game of cat and mouse, and end up in court again. And so the lawyers, get ready, guys. They get ready. There's just going to be a fight of immense proportion. So I think he's calling bluff to say, oh, Parliament, so you're saying if a letter comes from the party, you'll effect the recalls. You'll facilitate, let's use the correct terms, you'll facilitate the recalls. Because remember, the person who started with these recalls really done outside the Secretary General's office was the Chen Champion-in-Chief himself in 2018, when he got the office of the chairperson, which was then a Senator Committee, to recall Dr. Kupe. Dr. Kupe went to court and lost challenging the recalls right to the end, until she had a different court process challenging her dismissal from the party, which she prevailed on that one. But she had already been overtaken by events because the term of parliament had ended. So I think what the Chen Champion-in-Chief wants to do now is to say, okay, I'll effect the recalls, and say if the interim SG effects the recalls, then they will go to court challenging that, challenging his powers, cite ZEC, cite his excellency, to make sure that then it's not proclaimed, the by-election that is not proclaimed, which will then mean again it's difficult to challenge because other processes, which is what the judge also spoke to, that it's strange that you did not cite ZEC, you did not cite his excellence, when you know that their processes will render your challenge academic, and the court is not interested in dealing with academic cases. So we almost 20 minutes. I wanted to do 10 minutes now. I'm almost going to other things. But basically, I'm saying now the CCC needs to really sort this in-house debacle, this fight. It's really not going to help them. All of their money is going to be finished in the courts. And as they are fighting like that, obviously ZANU will just be governing. Because it's time-consuming, this thing. It's exhausting. And it's not helpful with the type of reporting from my friend Kambagwe, purely, that was not your best, my friend. I can tell that you probably have not read a legal book in your life. You probably have not read a single legal book in your life. So, interesting times ahead. Anyone who can get the ear of the Chen Champion in Chief, of course, I have the ear of the SG. And if we have the ear of both of them, even better. Tell these people to communicate. Tell these people to negotiate. Tell these people to give in, because in negotiations you don't get everything you want, or else they'll end up having to negotiate with ZANU, and I don't know what they want, whether they prefer ZANU over negotiating with each other. I'm really not sure. But this is where we are. This is just my analysis. This is where we are. It's going to get dirty. It's going to get messy, because I think the Chen Champion Chief realized that I'm about to lose my party with my face. And if the alleged constitution that the interim SG did give to Parliament is the constitution which they brought in court then when they were challenging with MTCT, MTCA. And that's the same constitution that the Chen Champion and Chief brought. It's going to be interesting because I'm quite familiar with that constitution. So yeah, the courts are going to get quite busy. The lawyers are going to get a lot of money. The grass is going to suffer. And it's a gift. It's a Christmas gift too early for the ruling party. They're really going to enjoy for the next 5 years. Okay, my friends, good night. I'm sorry for rambling here and there, but I just couldn't hold myself. I just thought, no, my friend, this is not the way how to go. At the very least, get someone who's legally trained to assist you, especially with issues, legal issues that have to do with court processes.